In Legends, Darth Maul was given very explicit orders to kill Qui-Gon Jinn on Naboo by Darth Plagueis through Lord Sidious because he felt that Qui-Gon would be a danger to the revenge of the Sith, although he didn't know why. So what reasons did the Sith have to fear Qui-Gon? First, in canon, Qui-Gon Jinn was arguably one of the most powerful Jedi with a wisdom that was on par with both Masters Yoda and Windu. He was also the first Jedi to return from the netherworld of the Force. He was a Jedi who was not easily swayed by the rules of the Council, and most importantly felt that the Jedi Council had begun to lose their way and connection to the Force. He felt they were too involved with politics and the Republic. It was this weakness of the Jedi that was most exploited by the Sith in their plot, to operate in the shadows without detection. Qui-Gon, however, sought to always follow the Force, and very possibly could have sensed the Sith's plot well before it was carried out. It was he, after all, that sensed Darth Maul was a Sith, despite the rest of the Council not believing so at first. As May said, "I don't think the Sith could have returned without us knowing." The second reason for the Sith to worry about Qui-Gon is that he understood the prophecy of the Chosen One in a way that no other Jedi did. Since it had been so long since its inception, the Jedi had largely stopped studying it, and some, including Master Yoda, had believed the Jedi may be interpreting it all wrong. Qui-Gon, however, spent countless hours poring over the old prophecies, which allowed him to read them all in context, rather than seeing them as separate, unrelated prophecies. Qui-Gon knew the prophecy of the Chosen One also spoke of the sacrifice of many Jedi, and the cleansing of the Order's own sin. He also knew the prophecy of the return of the Sith. Undoubtedly, he did or would have put these two prophecies together as happening during his life. All these things would have led to the third reason the Sith had to be worried of him, whether or not he trained Anakin Skywalker. Qui-Gon believed that Anakin was the Chosen One, and would have been sure that Anakin knew these prophecies inside and out, especially if they concerned him. Qui-Gon would have taught them to serve as a warning to the young Padawan, and very well could have spared Anakin from his dark fate. Also, because Qui-Gon certainly sensed the darkness within Anakin, he would have been able to better help Anakin choose the light as a tool against the dark, rather than trying to ignore it completely as the Jedi taught. Another reason that Qui-Gon would have been a powerful master to Anakin is because Anakin Skywalker's fall to the dark side was precipitated because of his love of Padme. The new canon book Master and Apprentice hints that Qui-Gon Jinn himself may have had his own forbidden romance in the past, but that he ultimately chose the Jedi path over love. Why or how remains a mystery, but Qui-Gon even always carried a Mustafarian fire diamond that he received from her. You may be saying though, hey, how is that different from Obi-Wan and the Mandalorian Duchess Satine? On the surface, it's the same. Obi-Wan recounted his lessons learned from choosing the Order over Satine on numerous occasions, but I believe he also highly suspected Anakin's relationship with Padme, but chose to ignore it. Now, I'll get into why in another video. Long story short though, I don't believe Qui-Gon would have ignored it. I think he would have been open with Anakin, spoken to him frankly about it, and helped Anakin make the decision that would have best followed the Force and put down the dark side. The last reason the Sith needed to fear Qui-Gon and why Qui-Gon was such a better teacher for Anakin was because Qui-Gon would not have underestimated Count Dooku as the Jedi did prior to the Clone Wars. Jinn would certainly have sensed the dark side in Dooku long before Master Yoda, and perhaps even sensed what Dooku was working to bring about for the Sith. The entire Clone Wars strategy could have potentially been foiled by Qui-Gon. Yoda himself tried to use the Force to do this, but was partially blinded by his arrogance, just as Sidious said in Revenge of the Sith. So after seeing all of these reasons that the Sith had to fear Qui-Gon, the bigger question remains as to whether Qui-Gon's death was the will of the Force. If Qui-Gon had lived and done all these things, the prophecy of the Chosen One, the sacrifice of many Jedi, the Jedi overcoming their sins, and the return of the Sith may never have come to fruition. So, would then the will of the Force have been frustrated since the prophecies would have been debunked? Or would the prophecies have been fulfilled in another way that was more in line with the light side of the Force? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you always.